Have you ever paused to really reflect on the profound fact that Jesus was more than just crucified? He was, in essence, assassinated. The act of putting him on that cross wasn't simply about ending a life. It was about eliminating a message, a force of transformation so powerful it posed a threat to the status quo. But why? Why was he considered such a threat? It's fascinating, especially in today's world, where we're often taught that to experience God or a holy moment, we need to make pilgrimages to sacred temples, attend grand religious institutions, or even donate significant sums of money. But Jesus' teachings weren't about that. He didn't point to any magnificent temple or church. He pointed inward. He said, "The kingdom of heaven is within you." It wasn't about a distant, sacred place. It was about understanding that the true temple lies within. Think about it for a moment. Right here, within the temples on either side of your head, is where the connection to the divine resides. That's why we call them temples. They aren't just a label. Jesus' message was that heaven is not something to be found by traveling far, not something external to us, but something deeply embedded within. The sacredness, the power, the connection to God, it all resides inside us. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds uncomfortable, even challenging. I get it, it's a lot to take in. But this isn't about offending anyone or undermining tradition. It's an invitation to see the teachings of Jesus through a fresh lens. We've all been conditioned to believe that to access the divine, we need to visit holy places, to spend money on temples or churches. But what if the real access, the real key, is already inside us? Jesus didn't point to a physical building. He pointed to our very selves. The kingdom of heaven is within us, not in a distant place. This isn't just metaphorical language. It's deeply practical. The second chapter of the Kabbalah, drawing from ancient wisdom, speaks of the magic key, saying, "He who understands these possesses the magic key, before whose touch all doors of the temple fly open." This suggests that the temple isn't a building at all. It's an internal space, a powerful presence within us. Imagine the temple not as a place with stained glass windows, or a building where you're expected to pay a certain percentage of your income. No, this temple, the one Jesus pointed to, is a frequency of vibration. It's not locked by any traditional key or restricted by rules and rituals. It's the gateway to divine consciousness. And the key to it is understanding that God is not a person floating in the clouds, but a frequency that permeates all of creation. God, as we've been conditioned to think of him, is often imagined as a distant figure. But in reality, as Einstein discovered, matter is just energy vibrating at different frequencies. There's nothing solid about the physical world. It's all a series of frequencies that appear and disappear within fields of energy. This concept was understood by ancient cultures long before modern science, where they called it spirit or light. And this isn't just abstract thought. Jesus himself referenced light as a manifestation of God, saying in Ephesians 5 verse 13, "But all things that are approved are made manifest by the light, for whatever is made manifest is light." In a world where financial debt, emotional burdens, and daily struggles feel overwhelming, it's easy to forget that the greatest truth is often the simplest one. The divine is within us, accessible at any moment through the frequency of our own consciousness. Imagine for a moment that you could align with this truth, that you could partner with the divine within to create the peace, abundance, and clarity you seek. What would that look like for you? It's not about climbing steps in a temple or reaching some distant altar. It's about tuning in, understanding that your connection to God is never far away, but rather right here inside. You have the power to tap into the divine frequency at any time. This understanding could be the key that unlocks your life's greatest potential. Imagine breaking free from the chains of financial struggle, not just by working harder, but by embracing a powerful, divine strategy that promises freedom from debt. This is more than a simple request for financial change. It's about entering into a sacred financial covenant with God, where we align our finances with biblical principles, inviting divine wisdom into our money matters. By doing this, we don't just improve our financial management. We open ourselves to God's guidance that leads to true freedom. If you've ever wondered why, despite all your hard work and effort, you're still unable to get ahead financially, the answer may lie in your foundation. It's not just about budgeting or managing money. It's about the underlying belief system and how you're approaching money. A financial covenant with God offers a new foundation. It's more than financial planning. It's a sacred agreement that invites God's wisdom, blessing, and help to clear the path toward financial freedom. This divine partnership has the power to help you overcome debt in ways you may have never imagined. So how does it work? By crafting a personal financial covenant with God, you learn to weave biblical principles into your financial journey. The covenant isn't just about what you can do for God. It's about what God can do for you. Through this sacred pact, you'll unlock divine guidance that can help you design a financial strategy that leads to freedom from debt. This isn't just a plan. It's a transformative spiritual practice that brings you closer to your ultimate goal of living debt-free. And there's a deeper layer to all of this. In quantum physics, terms like light, spirit, and energy have taken on new meaning. They describe the very essence of creation. What ancient texts referred to as the spirit, modern science now understands this as energy, waves of potential that exist beyond the physical realm. In Hebrews 11 verse 3, it said that the things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. In other words, the material world was created from an unseen, divine energy. Understanding that God is a living frequency, rather than a distant being, opens us to a deeper spiritual dimension. This is why the kingdom of heaven is not just a physical place, but a state of consciousness. The idea of Christ consciousness represents a higher awareness, a direct connection to the universal mind. It's a transformative shift in consciousness that makes us aware of divine wisdom within us. Jesus' teachings about baptism go beyond ritual. They're about renewing the mind, cleansing ourselves from ego, and aligning with a higher consciousness. Many believe that sacred transformations must occur through external rituals or in specific sacred places like churches or temples. But Jesus made it clear, we are in this world, but not of it. The kingdom of heaven is not just found in physical spaces, it's within us. When we focus our consciousness, on this inner truth, we begin to dissolve the darkness of ignorance and experience the light of understanding. This inner shift opens up a new way of seeing the world, and in turn, we begin to see our purpose more clearly. As this transformation unfolds, we may even start to experience what others call miracles. These miracles are simply the natural result of a profound connection with the divine frequency. Just like the miracles Jesus performed, they're expressions of a deeper, divine connection that operates through us when we attune ourselves to this higher energy. It's not magic, it's alignment with God's will. And when we align with that, financial freedom, like all other forms of liberation, becomes not only possible, but inevitable. What if I told you that miracles aren't just ancient stories or distant events from the past? They're happening in our lives right now, waiting to be unlocked. Jesus himself said, "These things you will do, and greater." The power to create miracles isn't limited to just Jesus. It's part of the divine potential within each of us. In my own life, I've witnessed this shift when I stopped relying solely on my own efforts and started seeing God as the true source of everything. I used to think that success depended entirely on my hard work, that I needed the right clients or specific outcomes. But as soon as I changed my perspective by shifting from a limited, self-centered view to one filled with gratitude and recognizing God working through me, everything transformed. My work began to touch millions of lives, and success wasn't something I had to chase. It naturally aligned with a higher purpose. This is what Jesus meant by the eye of darkness. When we focus only on external success or material needs, we're looking through an eye of darkness, a narrow lens that prevents us from seeing the true abundance available to us. But when we turn inward, when we invite God's light to shine through us, everything changes. This is when miracles happen. Solutions appear. Creativity flows. Businesses thrive. Even physical healing becomes possible. All of this is the result of connecting with God's frequency, not from isolated human effort. When we align our thoughts with God's frequency, asking for guidance and focusing on the highest good, we begin to see the manifestation of our deepest desires. Our lives become a reflection of that divine connection, filled with abundance and joy. We no longer operate from a place of selfishness, but from a place of divine consciousness. Jesus said that when we seek the kingdom within, the doors of our inner temple open, and God's energy shines through us. Suddenly, questions like, "What does God want from me?" or "How can I serve?" guide us, and the darkness of doubt and confusion begins to fade away. The miracles you experience, whether big or small, are not just from the Bible, but are personal, real, and available to you today. This understanding leads to an important realization. We must stop waiting for a Savior to appear outside ourselves. Jesus never told us to wait for an external Savior. When he spent 40 days in the desert without food or water, he demonstrated that the strength to endure, to overcome, and to experience true liberation was already within him. He knew his true source wasn't found in material things, but in his connection with the Father. This same connection is available to all of us. Our culture often programs us to look outside ourselves for answers or salvation, but this only deepens the divide. Seeking answers externally can lead to disillusionment and confusion. But when we stop waiting for external solutions and start focusing on the divine connection within, that's when true liberation occurs. Jesus even overturned the tables of the moneylenders, showing us that true salvation isn't tied to earthly systems or material wealth. We are not slaves to debt or worldly concerns. We are in this world, but not of it. We are made in God's image, and the kingdom of heaven lies within us. What I'm sharing isn't about rejecting God or religion. It's about understanding that our relationship with God is deeply personal. It's about aligning our consciousness with the divine that already resides within us. Modern quantum physics even confirms what spiritual teachings have long said, that the material world is created from light and thought. When we purify our inner temple, filling it with light, we reflect God's frequency in our lives. This is the essence of the message. We are divine expressions of God's love and light, capable of creating miracles, experiencing abundance, and gaining wisdom. So let's shift our perspective. Instead of seeing God as a distant figure, let's embrace the inner kingdom of heaven that already resides within us.